Welcome back to Sales Remastered. My name is Daniel. I'm your host. And in this episode, we're going to get real pro on how to use social influence in your day-to-day communication. And, if you haven't caught the video yet that I just uploaded, it was basically my commute from the gym. I've officially labeled those commutes breakfast of champions because typically they're pretty early in the morning, and it's going to be filled with information that's going to get your brain moving like a champion. It's going to get you warmed up. So go check out that episode. Those episodes, again, for those of you who are too fancy for profanity, those episodes will have some curse words in there, but it's going to be humble, it's going to be real, it's going to be passionate, and it's going to definitely be impactful. So I hope that you are open-minded. You do let that be your first engagement for the day with regards to getting your gasolina, your mental brain food, your motivation, your daily hustle nutrition. Get it? So in this episode, though, I want to get back into sales. I want to share some information that's really going to help you persuade and get through. And a lot of it has to do with the way we communicate and the way we engage. And so in this episode, I want to explain the difference between being understood and understanding. And I think the reason why we have a difficult time in persuading one of our prospects or any of our prospects to going with us or giving us their sole loyalty, right? Their sole attention, and not compare us, not go shop us. You know what I mean? Like, just sit still, sit back, enjoy the ride, and wait till we're done. Because in my game, or in our game, I should say, for those of you who are in real estate and mortgage banking, our life cycle for the sale transaction from hello to completion typically is about 45, sometimes even longer, 45 days or longer. And of course, you have portfolio loans that could probably get done in less than 30 days. But those are far and few in between, right? And so nonetheless, it's not like a quick engagement. It's not like a quick sale. It's not like we're selling cell phones where you come in, I sell you, and on to the next one. And this is why we typically make more income and we get higher compensation than as if we were selling some sort of cell phone, right? Or some sort of cable product or other common service. And so the reason why I want to share this with you is because one of the main reasons why we have a hard time in closing a sale and finalizing that transaction to have them buy, basically, is because we as salesmen, and this happened to me a lot too, so if you're going through this right now, it's not your fault. If anything, you just probably had the wrong guidance or the wrong mentor. But fortunately, you found at Sales Remastered, and now you fixed all them problems. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you why there's a difference between being understood and understanding, right? And so our prospects, if you really think about it, what we do for them is we provide solutions, where most of our competitors or those who are not on this channel, what they do is they offer options, they offer prices, they offer discounts. Get it? So there's a difference between offering something versus providing, right? Like I'm giving it to you. I'm not asking of you. And so when we understand that, then we can take a step back and analyze the engagement even further. And what I have found was that prospects, basically anyone, right? And this is social influence, is you are going to gravitate to those who influence you, right? By those who speak your language, by those who are like you. Have you ever heard that saying, people buy from people they like, or people do business with people they like? And the reason for that is because when you really think about that, number one, why would you like somebody? Why do you like the person you're with right now? Why do you like your spouse, right? Why do you like your best friend? And what I found was the answer to that is because they understand us, right? We feel understood. I don't necessarily need to understand, the human chromosome of somebody in order to like them. But what I do need from that individual is to feel that they understood me, like they understand me, they get me, right? They're on my wavelength. And if I could find that bond, that in itself is the strongest rapport. And so let me give you an example. When we sell our products, sometimes there's a lot of fancy lingo, there's a lot of details, but what I have found to be more influensive, man, I hope that's a word. What I have found to be more effective in influencing someone's decision making is when you make it applicable to them, meaning that your engagement, the entire time you guys were conversing, going back and forth, you actually absorbed the information that they're giving you, rather than be solely focused on any potential objections about price or the details of your product or which product you're going to sell. You see, most salesmen are brought up and trained to be cheesy. They're trained to push a product or push a program. And a lot of the times that has to do with our own selfish personal motive. And our own personal motive or our own selfish motive has to do with our compensation, because we are always trying to justify why we go through this grind, why we go through this this hustle, right? And so what we as humans, how we justify our time and our sacrifice and our hours and our headache and our heartache and our everything that goes into sales, how we justify is through our compensation. How we gain our compensation is when we make a sale. And so most of the time, most of our competitors, salesmen who are new or salesmen who are just not empathetic or have no emotional intelligence, they're more focused on making a transaction. They're more focused on offering a product so someone buys, rather than understand the person buying and suggesting a solution. And so when you suggest the solution, it means you paid attention. It means you understood where the pain was, and you manufactured a solution, not a price, not a discount, right? And this is why people will pay premiums to get tailored service. You ever pay extra to get like something customized, like your phone or your iPad? You ever pay that little extra to get it, bedazzled, right? Like you pay a little bit extra for that cool phone case because it's personalized or something like that. Anything that you have personal, it could be a shirt, it could be, a pen, a suit, like those people that put their initials right here on their sleeve. That's fancy as fuck. One curse word. So I'm going to get back to the professional Daniel and explain why social influence is important. Social influence is basically being like everyone around them, being like everyone who they have studied and kind of reference to as to how to act, the protocol. And the protocol is that we typically get along with individuals who are real, right? We rely on social influence to protect us. And so if our social influence is coming through media and movies, like let's say Wolf of Wall Street or Boiler Room, and society is anchored a salesman to be one of those pushy people that try to talk you into buying something that is simply not going to help you, is no good for you, or you don't need it, then you're putting yourself in the wrong bracket, in the wrong group of people. Because as a salesman offers, right, whereas a consultant is going to solve. And at the end of the day, whatever you've sold in the past, whatever benefits you believe you've given, those benefits were chosen because it was applicable to the pain that was being felt. So you had the right Band-Aid, you had the right medical treatment that gave the prospect exactly what they needed. And when the prospect felt that they were understood, then they bought, right? It wasn't about whether they understand the dynamics of the terms and the lingo and the abbreviations that you use. It's not about them understanding how the rate and the fees work. It's not about them understanding how the payment, coincides with lender credit. It's not that. What it is whether or not you absorb the information that they gave to you and you translate it in a professional manner that ended up with the solution being your product or your service. Get it? And so this is why that when you get that individual to a pitch table or a sign to do your sales pitch or your sales presentation, that you put more thought into it rather than the objection, right? Put more emphasis on how it is going to help your prospect. Focus more on the consequence of what could happen to your prospect if they didn't buy. What would happen if they didn't take action? You know, how would their life be positively affected, and how would you deliver such a powerful impact to a prospect through your service? You know, could you save them money, or could you solve a problem? Because when we deliver our pitch, sometimes it could just be very bland. It could be very generic. It could be, you know, just kind of like that real cheap like feel to it, right? Like, I'm just a number. But when someone feels that it's tailored for them, when someone feels that it's personalized and it speaks to them, that's when the prospect feels understood. Whether they understand the logistics, or they understand the terms, the payment, the lender credit, the rate, or the amortized schedule, I don't think is the point. What I believe is the point is whether or not that prospect feels understood. So take that with you and use that in your daily hustle. Use that today and let me know your feedback. Let me know if this makes sense. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.